this. See? Yeah, man, up, man. Yeah, Father, big up yourself. Big up yourself. See? Father, big up on yourself. Yeah, man. Yeah, so Wesley, big up yourself. Yo, P. Yeah, and the whole crew, you know. Lion Pa. Yeah, and, you know, the whole crew. See? General, big up yourself, you know. Whole crew. It's Weeds. Big up yourself. What you say? Alright, so me I run through, because them say Emancipation Day today. You know. And you see me a bun, all them I use some slave master laws against us, you know, so me I bun that straight. And people have to get up and stand up now, because them politicians now for we. So me I play back something now one they can see. One they can go see by oneself. Because you know American put out these things. So I play, but I play the audio, but it up there. One you can watch it on yourself. You see? And I play it. Because I have the video, but I play the audio. And I could just do and dissect the audio. Why Jamaica mash up and why the illicit or socialism them change from that and the drug trade how it come in and all kind of things and how it happen. And we just want to listen keenly about these parties with politicians who are now the country set and all kind of things. Them can't trick me. And people love too much, party too much, and make politicians lead them astray. Yes, they make a place when I have no plane, when I have no train, when I have no ferry, when I have nothing. See? Just relax and just want to listen to this and make you go through it here. Hear this. Just listen to this. And you got here because you have country and we have business. Because you have freedom of speech. So we can talk and then people from America, them, you know, after certain years, certain things release and then you have people who do them for them part of thing and release certain things. So, you know, freedom of speech. So just listen to this.
Risk to anger the United States of America. And the answer is this: we are not angering the United States of America. They are angering themselves. They are not going to tell me what relationship I have with Fidel Castro. We have that friendship with Cuba as part of a world alliance of third world nations that are fighting for justice for poor people in the world. As long as this party is involved, we intend to walk through the world on our feet and not on our knees.
Some want to listen to this properly now because them thing at the starting and the kicking off, you know, some people, you know, like I could call why did I go on. But this I give the starting of the thing, but just listen what go on in Jamaica. Because they have a leader say, hey, we're not, you know, a third world alliance and we want to walk on our feet instead of our knee. You know, bow down to assist him. And this will go on, you know. Just about big up yourself, you know. So, you know, you have to just send out them things to the people, them and them go watch it themselves.
Manley was a Jamaican Prime Minister, Democratic Socialist, leader of the International Non-Aligned Movement, and someone who had, in fact, a very tragic political story. Michael Manley was the son of a Jamaican independence leader. Norman Manley was a liberal, someone to the sort of center-left, focused on Jamaican independence, well-educated, upper class, and certainly not one with a common touch or particularly radical agenda. Michael Manley was very privileged, was educated at the London School of Economics, but he inherited a much more intense charisma than his father, as well as a robust commitment to anti-imperialism, anti-colonialism, and, in fact, democratic socialism.
So my anti-imperialism and anti-colonialism. I deal with democrat socialism, right? When I just stick out the word pint in the world at certain pints, you know. Saying, but we want to know our country reach some, that's how it reach, right?
He took office in 1972 and he did implement a series of reforms.
Implement a series of changes and things, right? Implement. Them things we look for. Them things we still look for, but we notice we leader them start straight. Them when them in that, them I use the same all Backermaster laws, although we are independent country right now. We are 58, 59, on the 6th of August. We're going to be 59 because we're independent. Now, if we have a house, you have a house, And you have your furniture and everything in it and thing, and me buy the house for me and thing. Me don't want your furniture. I can throw out everything in there. Me can deal with it, paint it how I want it, do my one now. Saying? We not supposed to use your thing them, and I don't want to sleep in your bed, and I don't want to use your dress, and I want to use my thing. I'm supposed to use my thing, because it belongs to me now. In other words, we elect people, we're supposed to look up for our interest, but they might use some back master, but the slave master themselves right against them one people. And I know them not create nothing at all, and just go and listen. Because I'm not done with them yet, you know.
Land reform, he expanded education programs, he eliminated discrimination for children born out of wedlock, and implemented other significant reforms.
Yeah.
In 1975, Agostinho Neto's Marxist-oriented popular movement for the liberation of Angola led Angola to a hard-fought apartheid regime invaded.
So them invade South Africa apartheid regime, make an invasion, right? Immediately they make an invasion because him, Castro, remember Castro sent man down there and them thing, right?
Castro offered his aid, but the well-trained and equipped Cuban forces were an ocean away. Cuban forces needed to refuel on their way to Angola, and Manley, along with Forbes Burnham in Guyana and Errol Barrel in Barbados, agreed to provide landing bases and diplomatic cover for the Cuban forces.
So Cuba go down in a South Africa, down there a fight, because South African apartheid guy them did rush over Angola and go on like, the man them a fight for them freedom and them thing there. So Cuba, go down there and knock them. And where them want refuel. So you have people in Barbados, Manley, and them and thing Guyana too, and go down there and say, yeah, can't mash up a people them so. So them guys that run come and remember them did roll down South Africa and go on like, See? So but they make fight apartheid too, You have to stand up, You see me I say, yeah?
Washington objected strongly to this, and
so Washington rejects strongly to it. Never want you do that. You want to mash up our people, no sir. You see?
Kissinger went personally to see Manley and demand that his government withdraw support. He declined Kissinger's request and pushed Kissinger's hand out of his face. This, along with opposition of the old school aristocracy and oligarchy of Jamaica, led to increasing pressure on the Manley government.
So them start pressure the government. So you have stand up for Mama Africa and the rights, because you have some guy in apartheid. One go down there, you mash up and you lock down Mandela and lock down where you can't run your mouth. See? I'm on the seat right in the 70s. I said no. And Cuba, Castro said no, you can't Angola no, we'll come down to come mash them up too. Yeah, you can't bad up the people then. And then them have to refuel. So you can use Jamaica, Barbados, Guyana, and run cross, and that cause a thing, and you say no, we know traditional, boom bam bam. No. So you have to fight for our own people. Because them people, remember Africa, the ancestor them come from too, Saying you have some guys down there where push apartheid. Instead of the world, it's a boom bam. Because when I tell them take on Mandela, they depend on some list of terrorists, Of course. Go check it, man. John Major they make some wicked chat about Mandela and all that kind of things. We know the history, You understand? So you hear why, and these are why you turn one and say, well, I forget rid of that man. And they must say land lease and them thing, they give back the people them and you can have this. Right now, we will have land gone back. Then see them take it away. But then we are calling our own people them squatter. If you live born and go in a place and have land some hill and some bush and where you go there, you say you're a squatter. And you don't have no money for buying nothing. Where if you live in a sea, make shark name you. Or live in go live in a black river or some place where pay a crocodile, they make crocodile name you. You see government no good man.
By 1975, you saw immense acts of political violence and intensity. By this point in the 70s, you had cities like Kingston split up into different garrisons, different neighborhoods that were represented by different parties that would distribute patronage in different networks. Depending on whose party was in charge, could affect your building contracts, your housing, your employment contracts, and your social welfare. And in order to get out the vote in these neighborhoods, There were gunmen and gangs associated with both of the major parties, the People's National Party as led by Michael Manley, and the Jamaica Labour Party led by Edward Seaga. Now, the Jamaica Labour Party, unlike its name might indicate, was the party of the right, although it did have some connections with certain Jamaican labor unions. This, along with what many allege was a sort of beginning of a CIA destabilization campaign of Jamaica, which would accelerate throughout the latter part of the 70s as a result of Manley's charting an independent foreign policy.
Chart independent foreign policy. So you have interference. And we can't talk about it because you remember, nobody must interfere. If Russia interfere in a UK election, you hear them talk about it. So you can't talk about it. Because them declassify something, shouldn't interfere in our kind of thing like this. See? And put them things there for stop and shouldn't even happen.
And jeopardizing capitalist and traditional interests in Jamaica.
They will go in the secret group that is trying to mash up the country.
Yeah.
We'll go in among the youth and find one that look like a leader.
Hear this.
And they call him one side and they say, hey brother, we dropped you $1,000 on the side. If you get the boys tomorrow night to go down across the road and carry out a raid. But you don't know that it is a destabilization agent that has paid somebody to come among him and sell the idea of starting a bit of a street fight.
You say, I understand what I want. Me understand these things too. That's why I watch them. We understand it. Because them tell you, destabilization agent, you come and say, go down this and do this and that and that. Because of that, them in your country, destabilize it. In other countries, it happen too. And you have some people that learn. You understand them to learn. Be a foolishness. And matter of fact, the state set even, it worse than this. Because you're letting more than 100,000 Chinese and them things. I remember, Chinese that look at football. So you have a Cold War still going on. And China try to turn, the number one in the world and then right in America backyard. So them can just step off if anything, them just land. So you give them land, give them everything. So you give them a route. And that them want. So if anything, we in a trouble now, our place can get bomb and all kind of things. We have to be careful what I do. Because this never go on and look where go on. Can you imagine now?
Won re-election in 1976 in spite of increased violence and pressure from Seaga and almost certainly pressure from the United States. As his term wore on, the combination of destabilization campaign, in fact, alleged
so them them the easy still enough. Yeah, man.
By a rogue CIA agent, Philip Agee, who quit the agency and actually exposed and specifically named agents on the ground. Independent pressure, U.S. corporations fleeing, investment pulling back. And then, of course, that cycle that you did see in the 70s where there was deficit spending in vital investments in education and public services and relieving poverty, but there also wasn't a sort of general kind of liberation of resources and other vital factors in the Jamaican economy. So the middle class started to leave. Tourism was hurt, commodity prices for things like bauxite went down. After some hesitation and an attempt to consult Jamaican people through a popular initiative, Manley chose the IMF. A series of agreements increasing austerity tore into the few advances that poor and working people had made, contributing to Manley's declining popularity and shifting balances of nationality. And in 1980, Edward Seaga would win. It would be another enormously violent election with very heavy artillery. There were 189 reported murders.
More than that, around 800 or 900. So in the 189, that's not the early part, I got enough more people.
The other aspect of this killing, and this will lead us to Seaga specifically, is that there is a gang called the Shower Posse, which was able to rise in Jamaica when Seaga took power in the 1980s. And the Shower Posses was led by a guy named Jim Brown, or Lester Coke, who was a personal bodyguard and political enforcer for Edward Seaga, and was able to, in fact, travel on a diplomatic passport.
So that's what I say when politicians attack, because politicians make man Trump and diplomatic passport and all kind of things from long time and them thing there. Them can't withdraw them name. Me not call them honorable and them thing there. If this try the country to the brink right there, and then you still honor them and run behind them and them thing. You have to know the history of them. They say anybody at all attack to you. You have to can stoop into them backbone and see how them, you know, from them come up and things like that. Yo, me no like foolishness. That's why me no respect them politics. You see me I say? Them enough of our people them make dead, you know. Yes, them survive. And them in a cocoon with themselves. Just listen to
Edward Seaga defeated the democratic socialism of Michael Manley. He was associated and very close with the Reagan administration. There were comparisons between him and the Duvalier regime in Haiti. He came to power, he implemented austerity, he liberalized markets, he helped the DEA in a very ruthless crackdown of marijuana cultivation in Jamaica. So an economic assault on what Manley had attempted to do in terms of creating broader prosperity and a form of social democracy in Jamaica.
It's an economic assault, but man demand economic assault. But man creating equal and prosperity for everybody.
Reorienting towards the traditional land-holding elites that controlled Jamaica, very, very small group of people, the sort of remnants of colonial occupation.
So you go back to the colonial occupation. So when did I spread out the land and think go back to them kind of thing and want to stop people them moving up the land again.
And he sort of returned Jamaica to the orbit of the United States as a client state. All of these things were synchronized at the same time with the Shower Posse. Basically, the Shower Posse is in the United States. They're also fighting rival gangs back inside New York and other places who had fled because they had been the losing side of the 1980 election. And they are credited with setting up incredibly sophisticated crack distribution networks across the United States and credited with upwards of 1,400 murders or more, according to some estimates. They were, in fact, personally selected by Colombia's Cali cartel to handle a lot of mid-level work inside its distribution routes. In 1985, Seaga imposes a gas tax and other forms of austerities that are sort of harsher. There's a major reaction on the island. There's riots, there's protests, but still no change in policy or governance. The relentless violence of the Shower Posse crosses the radar of U.S. officials, both in terms of the sort of weapons smuggling going in and out of Jamaica, a lot of course, the weapons going from the United States back into Jamaica, but also across state lines in the United States, and an incredibly vicious murder that...
So that's what sure say everything starts from politicians. So you reach 85 and we still go up. And we continue, because it spread everywhere. So you see, and the same set of man, them, if you ask some of them in there from their 70s or their 60s, them same one. Or make a look and call them honorable. I want to hear how the whole thing set up and work and go on and get rid of weed and then you have cocaine and then how it spread and then you hear what go on. So you hear for yourself, not me. I'm not saying anything. Them the US them have them thing and them make them document you, them put out them thing. You understand? So them document everything and after certain years run off them put it so you know for yourself. You understand? We don't make devil trick with you know. Me not night with no guy you know. You understand? Yeah. So them use the youth and them kill them. And you have people back in the days can show up on diplomatical book. So when you hear the minister now come say, well, you have some man in a diaspora and send back gun. Oh, them reach a foreign in the first place. Them know them I say because them that's why I say I can't listen to them. Can't listen to them. See?
Jim Brown, Lester Koch himself, was implicated in 1985 in Miami, killing several people at a crack house. In the late 1980s, there was a broad U.S. crackdown. What emerged out of this, finally in 1992, was that Koch, who had operated with...
So we're going to the 90s now. So you see, I 92 I just the other day again. So, you know, so for me, them politicians and them can't talk to me. And just look how long them in the thing I run it and them thing there. Saying and look what them set up and thing, it make it bad for other citizens and all kind of things. I mean, I'm not with them.
Complete impunity, including murdering a minibus driver in broad daylight in Kingston and getting acquitted, was arrested by Jamaican police and awaiting extradition to the United States. Coke was burned alive in his prison cell. While
You hear what them just say? Burn alive. Burn alive. That mean a politician behind something or something, cause you burn alive, you know, just go burn certain people alive. So you get a youth enough for wise, them using and them pushing out. See? This are all of them plan and them can't tell we. And we are say it. We not make up nothing upon them. You understand?
awaiting extradition. And the very grounded rumor is that Edward Siaga ordered the killing because Coke was threatening to flip on him and testify about broader linkages between both Siaga personally and his labor government to the cocaine trade. In 1989, Manley would actually return to power as a very softened and diminished figure. He had spent time in the 1980s writing. He lectured at Columbia University and City College and other places. And by the time of his return to power, he was ready to accept the world as it was, the strictures of global economics.
Some have to accept the world that it was, you know, as an older statement, because you try uplift a country out of the poverty, and you know, you say foreigner them can't own this, because you get independent, you can't this and that, and then our one people help this to fail to, you know. Because if you have two sides, if you have two parties, I want to say this and that, and then like I said, destabilizing agent come among you and do this, and you want to kill your own brother and thing for just the betterment, because that's what they want to keep it down. You understand? They want to keep it down. Some guy, if you say, if you look up on some guy and call them leader, if you have respect for them, that's some slave mentality that. We respect, who me respect? We respect the constitution of the land. We don't respect no man for them to respect themselves. Show respect and you get back respect. And you show respect to our people, we give back respect. You know, respect our people, we not respect you. Number one, a job you get. Say now, look respect. You work and you earn respect. By honesty and truthful to the people them. And working on your ability to say you really want to uplift the place and then you get my respect. You can't get my respect. Nobody now come tell me about no respect. See, me a big man. So we not disrespect nobody, you know, but we respect the constitution of the land. And if it's a qualifying constitution, we can burn it too. You know, right now, Jim Crow constitution and put to me and we say yes and laugh with it because now that have to change. Yeah, but we are some man. We don't have foolishness with them, man. If you have people come up and stand up for your rights, too, you know. You can't make them trample it.
Very actively sought foreign direct investment. He did not want to anger the United States or the IMF or World Bank. He did maintain some independence and connection to Cuba. He did increase social investments and try to still deliver for the communities that he still could speak pretty passionately about.
Yeah, you try to still deliver for your community. What them do for the community? You have to politically align. And these are the things that we are talking about. Look how much thing run through. I was there and I'm still here. Can we live through it? So them can't trick with, so we have to burn them. You understand? People for wake up and stop talking about this and no. Enough people want to make Ghana, so on the family are right, too much, 100,000. Look much people gone. More than, if you talk about over 40 years, you talk about more than 50,000 Jamaican gone through them violence and them things. Just think about it. I'm not joke.
The PNP was designed to serve.
What therefore do we in Jamaica, we in the People's National Party, what do we think are the realities with which we must deal? We are mostly cases of small economies. We almost all reflect that structural dependence, which is the legacy of the long colonial experience.
By this point, both as someone who had been victimized in the international system and as the international currents had shifted so much,
victimized in the system
in such a neoliberal direction, Michael Manley became almost a prototype of the type of third way politics that would jet across the globe in the 1990s. Shower Posse. They stopped operating so flamboyantly in the United States, though they still certainly were major drug traffickers in New York and Canada as well. They brought back home a lot of violence to Jamaica, and Christopher Koch actually built out Tivoli Gardens, which is this housing development that plays an important role in both the gang and their links to the Jamaica Labour Party. He ran Tivoli Gardens within complete control and also cultivated a Robin Hood image for himself. He paid for schools, he paid for clothing, he paid for people's funerals if they needed to. He helped people get jobs, he helped people get placed in college. He, of course, was raised both as the son of a top gangster, but also went to Jamaica's best schools and mixed with Jamaica's elite. There was speculation in Bruce Golding's term, who was Prime Minister of Jamaica, also a member of Edward Seaga's Labour Party, that not only did Koch help him get elected, but also that Koch had potentially even more power or even more centrality. His nickname was the President. That was where they were in 2010, the Obama administration pressuring the Golding administration to extradite Dudas for his role in drug trafficking in New York and for various other racketeering crimes. And the government being so committed to protecting him, they did in fact hire a lobbying firm in an attempt to get the Obama administration to reverse that decision.
So you see it, when them say party, you can't use a party, you have to use government to government. You hear them say, tell them play thing from thing, government to government. The government higher. You see it?
Eventually, Golding would actually fold to U.S. pressure and betray his gangster associate. And this would lead to an incursion in Tivoli Gardens in the spring of 2010 that killed over 70 civilians. By all reports, the buildup of the story was that if the army comes in, the Shower Posse will protect Dudas, the community will protect him, the community would be fortified with sandbags. There were gangsters that were trained in heavy artillery. The gang certainly had heavy artillery and snipers. When police, when military, when other figures that really had serious power.
And that the youth them, no few got dead still, and that's it's a wrong thinking. Because I hear you from the time there. I say, your man, if man go book back papa man and your man every man this. When I make mistake. Now you have a place where it's square off. Easy the circle. And even if you're in a fortress and you come in yourself with a 1,000 round, but you have to fight the government troops, because you have police and soldier. Them film run, it not done, it not run out. Because America back wagwan. See? And remember, government to government, you get the round. There is no way you can win. Them can just stay there, you fire, and you catch somebody, and when you're done, them can move into you. There is no way you can win. And that was a wrong part, and enough youth. I say, come on, tell me, who you think them come with them? I said, no, come on now. When you have the hardware and you think some gun with some shot and turn a magazine and shot them look enough. When you fire them out. When you have no run like the army and the kind of the mechanism and the machine them to go use and things, they will get defeated. So them just sit down and make enough youth just go in and fall in a trap like that. And then you see appear bloodshed. Whenever you have to run, so we could have find the next way to deal with this. See, there is no way you could have win. No way. You understand? Me could have said me some gonna be no thugs and thing a man tell me them foolishness. Not even when you see Bin Laden, him say boom bam bam I run gonna throw boy number one, me not live so. And you couldn't send me and say, yo, go take down this and you get much virgin in a heaven. You have to go heaven first. And then who behind you in the leadership have to go after. And then Uber, so by the time it reach me, my mind changed. Number one, me now go, you can run up and down and hide and send me to go do this. Not gonna work. Not gonna work. See? It's a fail, that'll be a fail system. Because you without a country, especially a man without a country, I put on a bigger range, much less, and them man they have the money, But remember, money are a lack of. Because every country that have your money and have that, and them all like have certain little things and squeeze you. You can't fight and win. You don't have a country. Or you win. Or you get a supply. When you're in a place like downtown this and it's surrounded. When you run out of supply of food, ammunition and everything. You ever see real war yet? You never sit down and watch war yet? The man them boom bridge and boom thing to cut off supplies. Because you don't supply, then you have to go surrender dead. So you're in a one little place like where you have, if you have a 10,000, even 50,000 around them are done. You're going to fire out pan rapid, so we know say it's a failure. We're not dead. Can't fight the states and either. Wrong move. You understand? Wrong move. So all that now, some people should have talked some sense and they youth them head and say, no, it don't make no sense. Saying you're going to fail. You're going to chop off and fail. Look here what you say you have. You don't have no machine to build bullet. You don't have a country, and like you say, World War I. So UK them can use the undertube was steep, and then I turn out warplane and use underground a build thing ammunition and all kind of things. And and I get other things, and then America turn certain factory in a thing where them build pure war things and tank and all kind of things. You can't do that, you don't have a country. You just surrounded, you're not dead. You make body telling about Bubba, you're going to die. You're not have the supplies. If you live 1 day or 2 days through that, or you're going to live the 3rd day. Your supply done, and then the man will come massacre you. See? You don't have the plane up there. I remember telling you, who control the sky, control this again, See? So you don't have to know about streets and warfare. But I see what's not. But me I try to show you the whole big thing of this, how politicians come right up and I go like them clean right now. When I say what I talk about, when I saw the thing run, right through them, no. US know it documented them, no. I hear them tell you how them want or how them charge and everything. So I believe in them guys when them talk. Me not look upon them, and them use the youth and them push them out. The thing that push them in upon the youth them like that. Because you have some of them, they not think like how me think still. And everybody have to think that way there. Everybody have knowledge, Yeah, some people them say them bright, educated fools. Say Faraday and Miguel either. See? And think 10 ways before you jump in a something. See, perish like the rest. But the whole thing what we are talking about, you see me I talk about Johnson, you see me I talk about Taylor, the whole thing of how the politics them and how them use people and all them can fly people on diplomatic book when them in a power. And then you have National Security Minister come and say, people from the diaspora, let me tell you this, the people from the diaspora, because you have good hard-working people, Mr. National Security. You have good hard-working people that take them money, work through coal and everything, and them only have 3 billion for all up the country. For last year or this year, because tourism done. Matter of fact, when I look the 2.5 billion, when they drop off of a tourism thing, when they get 3 billion, when they say it overperform. So you're still on the turn around and still at these people from the diaspora. Why would I do that? You never know when I do. And diaspora need to do cease. Stop sending the money plus the barrel them, plus the goods them and them thing there. Cease, just even to 2 months and say Jamaica not sink. Without the diaspora, Jamaica, without the diaspora and the money we are send, Jamaica sink. You don't think it's the next Titanic? Don't want this nobody in the diaspora. If you don't know who are own the sin up and wanna do a turn and make police go deal with them and take them out, but nobody talk about the diaspora. When you know when I do, When you know when I do, don't this people in the diaspora. You understand? No man, them out of order, man. You see me I say, and them know so them do the whole of them thing and use the youth, them set them up, and them set them up against DA in the US, you go pop them out and then put them in where them put them in. Them send them where, and then put them this, and US a part of what for make the thing running because that coke thing there, Them drugs thing there, Them know them turn a blind eye because it was a payback. You move one party, you want to pay back, but sometimes you get payback and some man over push something and them say, them over push you, clean up the place. Canada, US, UK. No, we want to clean up the place. Some go and bother now. We go not inch or not take a yard in our yard. No, sir. No, not go and bad. See? Jamaica could have better off. You understand? And then we turn back now where a Chinese are world place. So you put we in a more danger, terrible danger. And nobody now say nothing, think US now watch that. You hear them say them concerned about it the other day, Me hear them say that, We're concerned about it, So much Chinese. Remember, them have a look at Cold War going right now. Yeah, some people now will come up and me not deal with conspiracy theories, me deal with factual shit. So me not follow that. Me not know what I'm gonna feel. Some little guys like Ikes and them guys that sit down and make some little things and sit down with them conspiracy theories, and we, our set of nation, love run with these things too much. We don't you can dissect it and know, say this don't make no sense. See? This are me. Me, you can't just come with and think things to me, so everything I dissect around here. See? And we can't tell you why it don't make no sense. So not like we're just book and reject something. That opinion, but I deal with factual thing. See? So politicians and this they mash up the whole place. And then because some people can't get visa now if they go through the war because them send who them are send after the war and after what them do and control and then them turn around and kill out the youth them. See? And give up who them for give up. But them and live good same way. And I live for days and time but look how much youth under the ground. We could have done in Jamaica still alive and still productive and we have moved the country forward. Yo, me can't listen to them. Me and them can't be friends.
They came in, and by all accounts, they engaged in mass atrocities and killings. Days later, Cope would eventually be arrested. He was not even in Tivoli Gardens with his people. He was, in fact, arrested. He was dressed as a woman in the car of a priest. He, unlike his father, was extradited to the United States. He pled guilty to a variety of drug charges and is now serving time in prison. The Shower Posse, what was left of it in Jamaica now, attempts to operate in a more discreet fashion, and there is a different, definitely de-escalated sense of kind of state capture in Jamaica. But the underlying problems of poverty, structural violence that story tells us, going back to U.S. foreign policy, going back to weaponizing the Jamaica Labor Party, potentially even giving paramilitary training to members of the posse, which would in some ways explain some of the sophistication that the gang brought to operations in the 1980s crack trade. It all goes back to structural variables.
These governments have been so crippled by the International Monetary Fund that they have nothing to dispense. So basically what you're seeing, and you're seeing it all over the world, you're seeing it in Mexico, you're seeing it in Colombia, you're seeing it in Jamaica, and all the islands throughout the Caribbean, is a withering away of the power of the state. You're seeing states that are now so impotent, so unable to really provide for their own people, that the drug trade steps in to fill the vacuum. And that is why these men, despite their violence and their mayhem, are seen as Robin Hood heroes to the poor.
Yeah. You see it all over for you. You see it all over. So the woman with that thought, sure, yeah. Should look for watch that here. Yeah, man, did it for watch, man. So the lady way, yeah, so I would just start to go there. So she show her face, because I can't watch it. See, yeah, man, and she just say you see it, everywhere. See, sir?
These governments have been so crippled by the International Monetary Fund that they have nothing to dispense. So basically what you're seeing, and you're seeing it all over the world, you're seeing it in Mexico, you're seeing it in Colombia, you're seeing it in Jamaica, and all the islands throughout the Caribbean, is a withering away of the power of the state. You're seeing states that are now so impotent, so unable to really provide for their own people, that the drug trade steps in to fill the vacuum. And that is why these men, despite their violence and their mayhem, are seen.
Them must want some other people just giant from politics and just chat them foolishness. Them mash up the country. Them. You understand? That's why me and them can't be friends. Them mash up the country. Yeah, man. And so much bloodshed. For nothing at all. Wasted and them rich. And then them in the environment house and writing more laws. The police just running by you see Jamaica police force. If that change, Jamaica can't change, you know. It can't change. Them take the man, them take the police force, but that's thing big. But you know, like 72, like what Ramsey, Iona, you know, it's better about enough. Then take it and turn it in a war house. You turn a JCF in a war house. One man about 4 and 3 and 4 baby mother. Police them, you know. And one man, him dead and him just drop a woman because as them are going there, them are look them and who no want them. Them style for you. You understand? We cannot practice that. You see me, I say? So them have them baby mother like the one them want to see a war. Remember them here? And then hear what them do now. Because the police force, which police force only can name around the world. On go Jamaica alone. You know, so them should have in Guinness World Book of Record. If have the most, if have rum bar in a police station, and not just rum bar, but have the most rum bar too. Rum bar. A bar in a police station. Eh? When in a state or anywhere at all, police go up in America, them drink and them junk and tea, you can get charged. They might kick you out of the force so you get charged. You ever junk. But police can run bar and work and sit down in there. And they say, yeah, I better run bar in there because two of them are drink, so I better police station have the run bar. But what kind of government is around? What kind of country around? Or if you have junking man, a man we read, I walk with them 16 and you call every boot from going, a man a drive same way. So the people them where you have for uphold the law, you make them a break the law. Them come, they cuss. By the way, bad word in the book. You understand? Profanity from 1443. Them are slave master like them and them they depend on the book called we have a new country. You still them use against the people. So we are bond that and people never get up and bond them thing. They want the police and stop use against the people them too. Not at all from we have a new country we turn 59 in a couple of days time. Only if we stop use them look up bogus files, nasty thinking like can you imagine? You live and you think how people go through agony with these people. What them do them thoughts and then them breed after woman slave them whip some man, them do all kind of things to them. Like an animal. And write a laws, even when them come and say free this, them write laws and say, hey, no lighter in us, I don't go, I don't even start nothing about bad boy and I know. Don't even too mumble. Think you're still under control. And you use the laws for nearly 200-year-old law, 178-year-old law you use and talk about think the laws. That's a foolishness. Them they depend profanity. Profanity, them could have put anything and call it. So if you say, I love you, them could have said, you know, profanity, that I'm thinking from the book. So I make them send out the police, because them have nothing bad word law on the book, boy, and either. None. Them just pick out some words, so them could have pick out any word with them they like. They say, oh, drunk a politician, oh, put it on profanity, put it on the book. They could go lock him up. See? If you don't clean up the force, it can't clean up, because the amount of corruption in that. Man, you say a sergeant take people for the money and they pay it back. And I look every woman, I look them and when I pass law and for a lot of people, when I say, them kind of man there. Them kind of man there. So a lot of people, I say, them are this and that and sexual harassment. You have to lock up them, have to lock up themselves first. And no one not doing it. None. I'm going to see that try to look at things at Trevor Macmillan, but you know him dead long time. The year Trinity I talk about. But me I try to show you said this, and what happened to Jamaica. See? That's why I can't believe in a politician. And I like, we go back in the 1940s, they come right up to the 90s, come up in 2010 years, the incursion. Because a politician always mingle and I do some things, and then them go on like, them clean. I want to run back at them. See? That me couldn't answer for so. Can't remember, you know. It hurt me too, you know. Can't remember, I try to take out some people out of the gutter same way, you know. And by the way, I don't care where they come from, because I don't deal with politics, so I don't care where them come from. You know, I'm in a business. Where you want to vote for, whatever you, and I tell you, say, hey, when you start questioning who I vote for, I don't vote at all. No come with the promises. Me just say, some down in a veil, some down so. I talk about pregnant charge, and then cost, and go on back. I see people put out when I'm going these things. I see otherwise them are cost for them light. 2 years now we come vote for you. Because you know when just people just come chat when they want to chat. They understand if you have council, if you have them father and them never do it for you, why you don't vote for him? No, you see, you have to stay without light, you know. If you use with a blinky, I'm putting her in a room. I'm plugging in the fridge now with a blinky. Just put a socket, connect, because him have light on him. Just connect socket. Because you must see that. If you have the man father for your long, and him not going to the light, so him come now. So him go to him, you know, see him pretty young, put the J outside of it. And then we not demonstrate and make a bag of night. So what? How do you want it, some man? Behave with yourself, man. See? When you get wise. You can't just love parties, so when you place now fix and thing, me love parties, so give me the color. That's why them not change. And them a use back masala pauno and pauno pitney. Now joker, get real. Me there, you know. Keep it real, you know. Born politician, me up here, Lonesome up.